Hey, hello. So welcome everyone. I want to begin with a little thing. It's a little arriving in the body and also kind of stepping into this course officially, formally, and meeting each other also. So I want everyone to stand up if you can. You can stand up. If not, that's also okay. And you're going to just stand, and I invite you now to look away from the screen for a moment. So just to move your eyes slightly away from the screen. Feel yourself standing. Feel the distribution of weight across the feet, the sensation of standing in the whole body. And just recognize where you are coming from now. So what you did maybe this morning, just recognizing what's behind you, really physically behind you, where you are coming from. And maybe what you did in this week or this month or this year. What kind of year has it been? What kind of month has it been? Maybe it was joyful, maybe it was difficult. So wherever you're coming from, just recognizing this path. And then you find yourself here where you are standing. So feeling the body for a moment, rooting down, feeling the floor, and also a sense of dignity. So if you can, just a little bit taller, almost like you're getting pulled up by the head by a string. Sense of dignity for where you are now in the present moment. And then recognizing where you are going. So we're going to have 10 days together, and we make a little official opening if you are ready, just taking one step forward, symbolizing this stepping into this course. Step, seeing what that feels like in the body, and remembering why you came to this course. And we can join each other in sit down, almost like we're all sitting down at a table together, to come together to share, to talk about this thing called meditation. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you. And just have a look around at all the people who are sitting here with you, looking at the names, the faces, just kind of visually connecting with every person in this. You can go on gallery view, that really helps. And maybe picking one person to just smile at. Okay, okay, good. Um, so we're here together. You've practiced now. Maybe you had the evening meditation. Maybe some of you already did the morning meditation. So I'm curious to hear, mm, what is something that was already challenging in the last 24 hours of increasing, probably increasing your meditation time more than what you were used to, maybe a different style, different technique. What has been challenging? And you can just write it in the chat, maybe like maximum one sentence or two, no big paragraph, or maybe just a word or two. What's been challenging? And it's absolutely normal to have some challenges when we increase our meditation time. different resistances come up. So there's anxiety, anxious. Okay. Mhm. Some kind of feeling of anxiety, whether that's in the body or in the mind. Maybe you sit down, maybe you start meditating, and feeling of anxiety is manifest. What else is there?
For me, I would say it's difficult to not be in the mind and to be in the senses or in the present, to to be in the room where I am instead of having this monkey mind and having endless conversations or repeating things in my mind. It's a bit
Mm,
difficult.
endlessly drawing you away from the physicality of the room, the experience of your body. Yes, absolutely normal. Anka has experienced some anxiety. At a physical level, Alice is experiencing difficult to sit for a longer period. 30 minutes, maybe some parts of the body are falling asleep, maybe it's discomfort, maybe some restlessness is coming up. Yeah. What else is there? What else? Maybe there's no difficulty. That's great also. The only challenging thing was the feeling of numbness in the body while sitting because I'm not moving. Afraid of this feeling as if something might happen. Yes, interesting observation. Other than that, I felt calmness in the way I breathe, and there was a time when I could not feel the breath anymore. It was as if it was not there anymore. Interesting. So we are observing the breath, and sometimes it seems to disappear from the experience. Sometimes it comes back, sometimes it's strong. This is already starting to see impermanence. Okay. You felt discomfort in the last 5 minutes, maybe. Yes, absolutely. So these last 5 minutes of a meditation is usually the most difficult part. It's a bit like we are maybe exercising, and the first few repetitions of the exercise are kind of easy and empowering, and then you kind of get more repetitions of the exercise, and you start to stretch the capacity of yourself to stay present, to be still. But this is a really wonderful and crucial period. It's where you are learning how to relate to that discomfort in a different manner than you are used to. I felt so uneasy that I had to pause the audio for a while to compose myself. Okay, that's fine. You can do that. You take a deep breath to relax. It's important that we adjusting the intensity of the experience so that we can, excuse me, so that we are challenged, but that it's not overwhelming for us. So in meditation, some parts of meditation should be comfortable and easy, but other times it's going to be a little bit challenging. And the key is that we're learning how to be okay with that discomfort. If it becomes overwhelming, if it becomes really too much, it's better to actually stop, to go take a walk, to do something that you know um, calms you a little bit, and then to come back to it. But over time, we want to try and face those things that we usually run away from or suppress or um, don't want to deal with. Over time, we want to develop the resilience, of course, through the practice to continue sitting with that, and that capacity will start to grow. So every time we sit down, we're actually making that micro choice to sit with ourselves, to be actually with the things that maybe usually um, impact us in more subtle ways. So one key idea is also that when we sit down to meditate or when we start walking to meditate, there is nothing else we're experiencing except our body and mind, which we are already carrying around with us all the time, every day since you were born. In meditation, we are simply opening the space to experience that body and mind that is always there in the background. Good. Okay. So I want to open up here. That was just a few different ideas. Maybe some of that resonated, maybe some of it didn't. That's okay. So I would love to open up here for people to ask questions, for you to share anything. Just being mindful that we are 10 people. So if you do speak with the microphone off, just try to be a little bit concise and mindful that everyone gets a chance to also ask. Okay, so we already have a few coming in, and you can write the questions in the chat also. It's fine. Let's start here with Ellen. My heart tends to beat fast, so I need to focus both on my heart and my breath. That's correct. Okay, so sometimes, so when your heart is beating fast, or actually when there's other sensations in the body which are drawing your attention. Sometimes those things are pleasant, sometimes those things are unpleasant. So it sounds like the heart beating fast is a little bit like a sensation of anxiety, or you're kind of a little bit of contraction and running. The mind is running, the body is running a little bit. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And when that happens, it's good to recognize that sensation, but also not to give too much importance to it. So you're sitting, you're recognizing the heart is beating fast. Feel that briefly, recognize, okay, this is what it feels like, the heart beating fast. Also to recognize other sensations around it, feelings around it. Maybe there's a sensation of tension or contraction or expansion or lightness or heaviness. But then to keep actually coming back also to the breath. And with anxiety, especially, energy tends to rise up and become glittery and kind of fast. So seeing if you can sink attention more down into the lower belly, where the breath is just bottoming out, the abdomen, actually the movement of the diaphragm as we're breathing. And if you place your attention a little deeper here, this will start to calm down the whole body mind. And then maybe you start noticing the heart again and goes up the attention and other thoughts come. And then just repeatedly bring it back down to this lower center of the body breath. It's okay to notice it, but try not to give too much importance to it. I'm not able to decide sitting in a comfortable position. If I try to relax my back, I feel I'm too slouchy. Okay, so rather than relaxing the back, it's important that we have these two forces in our posture. So the first one is the lengthening. So the feeling you are grounding the hips down into the feet, into the floor, and then feeling this kind of string slightly pulling you up by the tip of the head, which just creates a little bit of length in spine. And it's not a kind of length where you are tensing to hold it, but it's the kind of length that you can just maintain comfortably. And then a little bit more softness in the shoulders. You don't have to hold the shoulders down, tensing them. The rest of the body is soft. And maybe there's some residual tension, and that's normal. Every time you notice the tension, you can just create, rather than telling yourself actually, okay, I need to relax, just ask yourself, what would 10% more relaxation feel like? Just 10% more. You can bring in 10% more, that will accumulate over time. Move on here. During the walking meditation, I find myself holding my breath and to really experience each step, holding the breath. I also realized that I've never actually walked that slow in the house before. I never stood in one spot for that long. That even my cats were cautious with my new walking pace. When I sat down for the sitting meditation, I noticed my breathing rhythm more vividly. In a way, I've never observed them, more space, more ability to focus. Still had the monkey mind, but I could not redirect to my breath, but I could redirect to my breath more easily. I just couldn't sit down for a long time without a back support. Okay, a few different things in there. Try not to hold your breath during the walking meditation. Sometimes it feels like, oh, I need to hold everything still in order to feel that sensation of the walk. But see if you can feel it through the relaxation, through the softness, through the openness which you create in your body by continuing to breathe. And then kind of like more receiving it rather than going towards that feeling of the breath. It's a bit like when we're doing something difficult, we tend to hold our breath. Like it might be something physical, it might be working out, it might be concentrating on something, and you start holding your breath because it takes so much effort and tension. But what we're really practicing here is to be focused in a relaxed and open manner. So the priority is also to stay relaxed, open, and then receiving the sensation of the walking rather than going and fixing towards. And more space, more ability to focus. Great. Still have the monkey mind, of course. We don't expect it to go away in the first hour or even over 10 days or even over years. It always comes back. And it's actually not about removing the monkey mind forever. We are actually learning to be okay with the monkey mind. And sometimes there will be the monkey mind, sometimes there will be more states of calm. And we are learning to observe this change in the mind. And when there's not so much tension and fighting against the monkey mind actually already starts to calm down. But it always comes back, and it always depends also what's going on in your life. If there's more intensity, more change. For example, I just arrived back to Germany again, and my body's getting used to jet lag and everything, and there's more thoughts about it. There's more turbulence in the body and mind, and this is nature. This is also okay. So it's not about removing any parts of ourselves. Back support, yes. Good to not use back support. I said that in the video, so you don't fall asleep, so you don't get passive. Like, for example, now, sit up away from your back support if there is any, and kind of create that length in the spine. And then lean back into your back support if you have some. And just notice the difference in the feeling of your body and the feeling of your mind. What kind of readiness is there? What kind of alertness when you lean back versus sit up? And that's why we try to practice without back support. But of course, if it's unbearable, also if there's some injury, then you can use it a little bit with back. Yes. My story, how I started. Yes, usually I say that actually. I forgot this time. Okay, let me just scan the rest here. Sitting on a chair, trying out lotus posture. You don't need to do the lotus posture. You can do cross-legged. Fingers feel a little bit swollen. We can call it also the oven mitt hand. The hands feel a bit kind of numb and more thick almost. This is also normal phenomena. Okay, so maybe a bit about myself. Thank you for inviting that. Um, okay. Yes. So how did I get into all of this? Mm, I was I grew up in Germany and I moved to Australia for university. I studied economics and finance in university. Um, and in university, in parallel, I was discovering meditation at a very introductory level, doing this YouTube guided meditation, and of course, recognizing some of the early benefits, like, oh, it was helping me to focus, but very much using it in a way to um, just create a better outcome in my university, in my job interviews. Um, I then started to work in finance as an investment analyst for the first 2 years. Um, but in the meantime, I kept deepening into the practice. Before I started my job, actually, I went away to Peru and I did my first Vipassana retreat. There was also an ayahuasca retreat involved, which was a very deep, formative experience for me, which opened up a lot. And um, it became clear to me that one of the things I need to do in this life is to really um, integrate that experience and to practice meditation. So when I started work again, I was losing all my annual leave for Vipassana retreats. I was reading everything I could on the topic. I was practicing 2 hours a day, and over time that slowly built, and I strongly felt more and more the urge to leave the job and go and explore that deeper and full time. And so during COVID, I I left that job. I went to Thailand. Mm, I was practicing a lot. I went to many different retreats, going to a 10-day retreat, also retreats in the northern Thai Vipassana tradition, Mahasi, Saido, noting style. Um, and yeah, then I was in Thailand for a while. I was also actually meeting other embodied practices, dance. Um, I was practicing a lot of yoga. I was going free diving. Then at some point, I wanted to go even deeper. I spent 3 months at a monastery in Thailand, where I was practicing there with a Vipassana teacher. And yeah, it's been a progressive unfolding, deepening of that interest and also getting a lot back from it. And in the beginning, it was more about focusing in exams. Then it became um, finding a better balance when I was relating at work. And it became a full lifestyle. And now it's informing everything I do. Of course, I also am working and start sharing these courses because I feel how much it benefits me and what the potential of the practice is to um, for people. And the you can go on these 10-day residential retreats, but during COVID that was closed down. So I started sharing also these ways to get in touch with the practice um, without leaving your home. So then the Vipassana home was born and has been developing. And yeah, that's a little bit about my Hey, so if anyone would like to share anything, I'm little bit tired of hearing my own voice. If anyone would like to share anything about experience or share anything. Ayana, you're on mute.
No, I just wanted to thank you for explaining and for organizing this. And I have, during COVID, um, done my first experience with Vipassana on
Mm,
my own at home, living with my family, who was able to respect that during 4 days I stayed at home and didn't speak or eat at different times. Um, and at that time, I didn't have a guide just from what some people explained me to do. So not writing, not trying to find anything, but still I was asking myself questions. What do I want to do in life? And it was very interesting what happened afterwards, how I felt afterwards, very self-confident and since then I have wanted to repeat this experience, and now I feel very grateful that I can do it in a group and during 10 days, not only
Mm.
4 days.
Mm.
Different because it's 2 hours per day, it's not the whole day.
Mm.
But I think now I have a full-time job, so it really fits. And um, yeah, I'm very curious and thankful for this. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a really nice way to be introduced. You had 4 days to do it, and you got some advice from friends how to go about it, and it's nice you had a positive experience. And um, yeah, we can work at many different levels. So a silent kind of isolation retreat, we will learn things about ourselves. There will be no stimulation. We're taking ourselves away from our usual routine and going into that. So this is a little bit in between. We're still engaging with life. We are increasing our practice time. Um, and there's the opportunity actually to learn how we relate normally to the things in life, in our life, um, through that time. And then there may be the what you can more sustainably do every day for this year or for the rest of your life even. And at every different level, at every different stage, there is different things to experience and work. Great, thank you, Ayana. What is the importance of not moving during the sitting meditation? Is it important to stay absolutely still? I could continue almost 25 minutes, but then I had to move. But as soon as I moved a little bit, my regularized breath returned irregular again. Okay, so interesting. What is the difference between regular and irregular? Um, the importance of not moving during the meditation is when we are committing to stillness in the body, and many impulses arise to move the body. So impulses to scratch yourself, impulses to change the posture. The body and mind are very closely related. So when we are committing to stillness in the body, we are also in a way committing to stillness in the mind. And different things also come in the mind that want to drag our mind away from what's happening. Impulses to think about things, impulses to remember things, impulses to be somewhere else. And that commitment to stillness is the same commitment to stillness in the mind, or silence in the mind. And it's not about forcing yourself and inflicting pain on yourself by sitting and not moving if your knee is like uh, exploding with pain. But we're trying to have a little bit more stillness than we would otherwise. So if you really need to move, you can do so slowly, quietly. If you do so slowly, quietly, then it won't disturb your meditation much. If you move and it's building up and you need to move and you're kind of, oh, okay, I've had it, and you change your posture very intensively, it will destroy your concentration. So it's okay to move to so silently, slowly. But that is the importance of committing to stillness. And it's the same for walking meditation. So even though we are moving, we try to not make extra additional movements, scratching ourselves, looking around, but we keep the simple form of just walking. And in the simplicity of the form, we can start to see things which are not the form, things which come in, and things we do unconsciously, whether it's in the body or mind. And let's take a 2 minutes break from the screen. So we can stand up, and there's just 2 minutes of space for you to do whatever you want, to move your body, to maybe do some walking meditation, whatever you like, stretch, anything. Take a deep breath to check out a little bit. Try for 2 minutes to do nothing. Try not to consume more stimulation to do another thing, but 2 minutes of just existing without even formally meditating. Okay, and if you like, if you haven't gotten lost, you can join us again. And yeah, feel free to do that more if you need it for the rest of the call. We talk more, and maybe something nice to say. We are now, when we are talking about the practice, we are kind of building the right idea for the practice. And sometimes we feel, okay, it's meditation. We don't want to use thinking at all. And I completely understand that perspective. But when we create the right idea for how to practice, it reinforces our practice. And it's not the same thing as practicing. Thinking about the practice and discussing is not the same thing as doing it. But we create the right idea in our head, and so that we understand how to do it. One thing I've noticed is that when my legs ache during the walking meditation, I acknowledge the pain even when unbearable. After a few seconds, the pain fades away. This is interesting. So there's experience of sensation every moment in the body. And some of these sensations are painful, some of them are pleasant, some of them are neutral. So for example, check in with your body right now. Notice what you feel in the body. Notice the sensations which are more neutral in the body. And then notice any sensations which are a little bit uncomfortable or unpleasant. Maybe just slightly, or maybe a lot. And maybe there are also some sensations in the body which are slightly pleasant. They don't have to be like a full-blown pleasure or bliss, but maybe there's some kind of feeling of slight expansion or softness, something which feels more comfortable. And all of these sensations we're experiencing are constantly in flux, in change. So even the same sensation, the sensation of, for example, your leg on the ground, is a sensation which is moment by moment being produced and dying, being arising and passing. And when we start to pay closer attention to phenomena like pain, we can start to learn that they are not this constant solid thing, but they are something that is a little bit, there's a bit more space there. There's a change there. There's a, maybe pain starts to deconstruct into pressure, into tingling, into heat, into some focal point. And even more, you can deconstruct it and you start to notice that it's changing over time. So this is also one of the, and it's the same with emotional sensations, anxiety and sadness. There's a change in there. And we're learning to attend to our experience not as this big solid block. Oh, I have a pain here and it's so bad, and the mind starts to make it into a black and white thing and creates a story about it. Because of that, it's because I'm very bad or the world is very bad, usually blaming either myself or the world. And we start to give more space to the actual experience of it, which is something that's changed. Ayana, you have to leave. Thank you. Have a good day. And yeah, here we go. And we're practicing with the breath. So the breath, if we don't really pay attention to the breath closely, the breath is something that's just assumed to be there, but we don't actually know it as an experience. So we're practicing to, okay, the breath is actually made out of a rising and a falling. And look closer at the breath. What else can you feel in the breath? Okay, there's a slight expansion sensation, there's a slight tingling sensation, there's a slight contraction sensation. My heartbeat is like this, and then it's like this. We're starting to look closer at our actual experience of ourselves and the world, and not so much what we think about self and the world. What I observed during walking is that there was an asymmetrical weight distribution in my feet and legs. I just continued observing and realized that it kind of became more symmetrical after some time, only by observing. Wonderful. So this is another beauty of the practice of just being aware. When there is awareness, when there's pure awareness, the imbalances, the inconsistencies, the things which don't line up, start to self-correct, self-heal. So there's a kind of, in my experience, there's a kind of desire for the body and mind to, or there's like a kind of force for the body and mind to return to balance. So we leave the body alone and it wants to heal itself. So for example, animals, when they, for example, this movie Octopus My Teacher, with their tentacle gets chopped off, and what does he do? He crawls into a cave and he waits, and he doesn't eat or something, and this tentacle regenerates. So there's a kind of healing force, which when we stop doing things, starts to work. And this is a little bit of one function of meditation is we sit down, we are still, or we're walking, just walking. And inconsistencies in the mind, worries, fears, future, past, whatever it is, they start to settle down, they start to work themselves out. Like Ayana, she was explaining before about the 4-day retreat and silence, and after that she felt better, even though she didn't change anything on the outside world. Somehow there's a different perspective. And doesn't mean we have to become inactive in our lives, but we're just giving some space to just allow body and mind to sort itself out through observing, through awareness. Good meditation is a little bit like just digesting experience, digesting all the experience we've had. in our life, or the ones just from yesterday or today. I do not sense much of physical pain, but my mind isn't calm and overwhelmed with emotions. I was able to finish the meditation and also felt like my another self is telling me to concentrate. Like good me and bad me arguing in my mind is quite challenging for me. I can focus more during walking meditation. Yes, so the different cells, mm, another perspective is when we sit down, we have all these different parts of ourselves which are trying to set forth their agenda. It's kind of like we are like a meeting room, and when we are sitting to meditate, we're giving a voice to all the people, or we're starting to listen to all these things inside ourselves. And all these parts of me, the person that actually thinks meditation is good and wants to do it, the person that thinks it's useless and wants to go do something else, the part of us that wants to go, I don't know, to work, the part of us that actually would rather go back to bed, the part of us that is worrying about the future and wants to do something else, and all of these different voices, and they can manifest in the body or the mind, are appearing. And what we are, the voice we are reaffirming is the one which is just listening and being open and accepting of all of these different selves. So we sit and we allow all of these things to have their voice, to speak, to express, to do all the things they want to do. And we're just recognizing it. We're not giving fuel to the fire by uh, pushing more or pulling more on something. We're just giving space to it. And then these start to quieten. And a beautiful analogy I was reading once is then the mind becomes powerful because it's like a chariot where the horses are all running in different directions, and over time we're starting to bring all the horses together to go into the same direction. We're unifying the mind, and the carriage becomes more powerful to work with just one direction instead of being pulled in all different directions. Is it possible to make the mind completely free of thought? Temporarily, yeah, but not. I haven't found a way to do it permanently. And actually, thoughts are very good. Thoughts help us. I need thoughts to run this course. I need thoughts to. We need thoughts just like we need our body. And I think in this life, as a being alive, as a human who is still engaging with things, just like we need the body to move and to drink things. And the thoughts can be like this also. They can be very useful thoughts. And it's not about removing thoughts, actually. So sure, sometimes there's some moments or some, maybe even 2 seconds or longer, depends how intensely you're meditating, where thoughts become quieter when they even cease to exist in the way we know them. But they're always coming back when we're engaging with things. But they are good things. Thoughts are good. We are just trying to recognize the 95% of thoughts which are kind of useless and create unnecessary stuff. Okay. Is there anything else? I feel we've talked a lot already. Is there anything else which is still pressing which you would like to express, either with your voice or in the chat?
I was wondering about the hand, the position of the hands. Can we, like, do we have to clasp them together? Can I just have my hands like normally, like just hanging down?
Hanging down? You mean during the walking or?
Yeah, yes. I mean during walking.
Um, you can. When you have them hanging down, you will tend to fidget because the hanging down actually creates a subtle pull on the shoulders, which will start to feel a little bit uncomfortable with more time. And so that's why the traditional posture is to clasp the hands. And I really like to also just a little bit hold my t-shirt or my pants with the bottom hand, which rests the weight of the arms more in the center of the body rather than them pulling down onto the shoulder. So that's why this traditional posture is recommended, but you can try. But if you try to keep it for the 30 minutes. So try to just have one position of the hand for the 30 minutes. I found that the traditional one works quite well.
They have so short arms, so
I
that's
have quite long arms, so maybe it's fun. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, for Catherine, it's all for now. Okay. Good. So there will be more, I'm sure, with a little bit more practice time. Do the practice. This is the core of the course. It's not a theoretical course about understanding it. We're practicing for 20 hours for the whole 10 days to develop the experience. As your experience changes and the ideas about it change, there will be more questions for sure. Don't try to integrate everything that was said in this call into your meditation. Pick one thing that stuck with you and see if you can apply that. Actually, maybe let's do that. Write one thing in the chat that you're taking away. I like, okay, I don't remember anything. But better just take away one thing that resonated. Be kind to my physical body and adjust consciously when necessary. Walking meditation is something new for me and I'm able to do it. I can control my world if I can control the mind. Careful with the word control. Okay? One thing from everyone. It's okay to feel discomfort. It's okay to let thoughts come and go. Notice, allow, stop narration, and go back to present.
I ask
Everything.
something?
Yes.
Is it okay not to have too much thoughts, other thoughts? I was just concentrating on walking and the feeling on my feet and how I move, what's the weight and things like that. So I kind of didn't have much thoughts, neither by walking neither by sitting. Is it okay not to have a lot of thoughts? Because all my thoughts were about my bodily sensations. Do I do this okay? Is it okay to feel like that and things like that? So I couldn't have much thoughts.
Yes. Yes, that's okay. Great. Yeah, so we have also these functional thoughts, which are a little bit kind of thinking about the meditation or thinking about things we're experiencing. These are also thoughts. We also just recognize these. But yeah, sometimes we will just be so engaged with the meditation, there won't be much other unrelated stuff. And then other times it will be different. So yes, okay. Thanks, Sid. Okay. Good. Let's close by closing the eyes briefly. Take a moment to feel the body. Feel the breath. Feel the landscape of sound. And even sight, even with closed eyes, you're seeing, hearing, feeling. And if you like, you can put one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. And just remembering and thanking yourself for being here, for making the time. This making the time is in itself already commitment to yourself. And then releasing the hand and just feeling the presence of the others here. So the ones we've just shared time with, that we've talked about the practice, that are also in this together for their own reasons or with their own questions. Today we saw how many different perspectives, different questions, different experiences there are. And let's find a safe feeling of being here together for 10 days. And there is also more beyond this call in the other time zones, US, and some which will be watching the recording. So also feeling their presence. The community. Okay. So thank you so much for joining. I'm asking all you to unmute. It would be nice to just hear your voice. Bye. Thank you. Something.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. I'm happy to meet you all.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you all.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.